Hey guys, what's up and welcome to a new Tesla update video. So today, as usual, let's go over the market. Let's talk about what has been happening so far. There's about 13 or so minutes left until the market closes, but nonetheless, I don't think much is going to change from here. So yeah, with all that being said and done, let's just jump into it. If you enjoyed, don't forget to hit that like button. None of this is financial advice. I am not a financial advisor. Make your own research, do your own research, make your own decisions, etc., etc. But let's just jump into it. So Tesla. Again, the market's not closed just yet, but should be closing somewhere around this 190-ish level, give or take, which is going to be up almost 8%. So we'll say about 0.5% to 8%. So nothing too crazy, especially for Tesla. You can argue this is a fairly flat day for Tesla. However, taking into consideration how the overall broader market is performing, like Amazon's down 8%, Apple did recover actually, but overall the market just being down this much, pretty aggressively too. And of course, SPY QQQ down like 1.2%, almost 2% for the QQQ. All right, Tesla not doing too bad, holding pretty damn strong. But again, like I said yesterday, we actually came up to the 200 level today. I think even tapped 200, did we not? I'm gonna take a quick look over here. So we didn't exactly tap 200, but man, we got damn close to it, right? We got all the way up to pretty much 199 on the dot, right? A lot of people put sell orders at 199 instead of 200 because, everyone's thinking, oh, if everyone puts a sell order at 200, then mine might not get filled. I'll put it a little bit lower, and then everyone does that, and then so on and so forth. But anyways, the point is we got extremely close to 200. And like I said, I personally don't expect 200 to be broken anytime soon. I mean, it could, I guess. I definitely don't want to rule it out, but I definitely don't think it will. Especially not after a run up like this already, right? There's the fact that we ran up this aggressively without any, honestly, like true breather room, right? It's pretty much been straight up, running, like nonstop, not a whole lot of slowdown. It just doesn't make sense to have enough steam left in this run to just casually break through 200 as well, which in theory should be a fairly large resistance, right? So, and on top of that, the 100-day moving average sitting at about $192, right? So it just wouldn't make sense to still have that kind of steam, which is why I kept saying that we might get to 200, 195, 200. That was my overall price target, but again, breaking it, at least as of right now, just doesn't seem like it's going to happen, right? But nonetheless, that is kind of what is happening right now. A decently bearish looking rejection over here. You can see a long wick showing that the buyers absolutely stepped in and just completely drove this thing down. But again, relative to the market, Tesla is arguably performing pretty okay. So with that being said, I don't really personally see Tesla showing any true top signs just yet. It is definitely showing some major rejection, but this doesn't scream to me that, all this tells me is that we're not breaking 200. This doesn't necessarily tell me that we're also just going to crash starting, let's say, Monday or something like that, right? It doesn't scream that either. So pretty much what this screams to me as of right now personally is that we're going to zigzag, that we're just going to zigzag through this general area over here, this kind of overall area like this. We're going to zigzag for a little bit until something forms, and then I think once we get a little bit of a formation happening, we can start determining the most important levels to determine whether or not we're actually going to break 200 next, or we're going to crash next instead. So like I said, this overall range right here between 200 and 180, that overall range, I just expect us to zigzag within that range for the next probably week, honestly, at least in my opinion. And then I think as we kind of do this and get tighter and tighter and tighter, then we can start determining where we're going next. I think it'll be easier as well. As of right now, if I had to take a wild guess, if I had to predict into the future, let's say, I don't know, about a month, let's say, end of February or something like that. Again, I talked about this several times before as it was kind of, in the process of forming, and we're still technically in the process of forming, but I personally still strongly believe that this cup and handle is going to play out, right? So this pretty much the cup has been formed. Today's movement up to pretty much 200 has officially, in my opinion, formed the cup. Now all that's left is the actual handle, which will look something like this, right? Which will essentially also just arguably be a bull flag. And then from there, I believe we will do a drawdown, create the handle, and assuming that pattern holds and assuming it doesn't somehow make it, become even more bearish, like the market's completely plummet or something like that, I do believe that that should play out. So now the question, of course, it comes down to, well, okay, if that were to happen, where are we going to go? Well, because we finally, in my opinion, set the top, I don't think we'll go much higher than this at all. So I do believe this will be the top. I do believe that once, we get some sideways action and once we actually finally truly quote unquote crash from this general level, in my opinion, once we break under 180, that is, you can definitely start arguing that, we can finally start actually making our way down overall to one of these levels that I'll talk about next, which is of course going to be the median level, or the average level I'd expect us to fall down to is about 150. I definitely think we most likely will come down to about 150. And I don't think we'll go much lower than kind of 144 to 140. I do believe that should, in theory, be the low point, assuming, of course, this bullish pattern of the cup and handle holds and doesn't go, lower. Absolute worst case scenario will be about 122-ish. That is like, ideally, at least as a bull, you don't want to see that. Ideally, you don't actually want to see that. You want to see it go not much lower than the 618, in my opinion, and even more ideally than that, the 0.5, which is the 150, right? But pretty much anywhere between 162 to 140 is the overall like main price target, with again my highest probability being probably around that 144-ish level, which is also this gap. Now, if we do go lower than this and we come down to 122, that's already making this cup and handle pattern look very wonky and, very much less reliable in my opinion. So that's, number one. And number two, that also opens up, in my opinion, also more room to the downside to potentially even making a double bottom. Now, of course, if we ever break the lowest level that we've been at over here, which is just shy over 100, well, naturally that opens up room to now lower levels all the way sub 100, which of course is still a real possibility. I don't think it'll happen, but it's absolutely not out of the question. Again, my personal highest probability of the formation is the cup and handle all the way down to about that 140-ish level, right? That's kind of what I'm personally foreseeing right now in the next month or two or something like that. But of course, naturally, we will see. Now, I have calls, of course, sold. I have one extra call. I did sell for 190 call for next week. I sold one yesterday for today that I bought back at like 80% discount, and then I resold it. Pretty much took those profits. Not too bad for one call. I got like $500 of profit. Not too bad in my opinion. And then I resold a new one for next week as well for 190 as well, right? So we'll see how that actually plays out, but that's kind of what I'm foreseeing as of right now, ladies and gentlemen. Not a whole lot different than what I've been talking about. I've been talking about this formation and this happening for several days now, so it's not like a whole lot of, I guess, new information to update you guys on, because pretty much exactly what I've been talking about is currently playing out. And I also strongly believe what I just talked about right now with the handle being formed, or aka potentially a bull flag, which again will look, just again a very rough idea, will look something like this. I don't really know how it's going to look, I'll be honest, but something like this, just very, very extremely rough example, right? Something like that is what I personally believe will be the next formation over here, and I'm personally just gonna be waiting for that, and we'll see where it of course overall takes us. But all that being said and done, ladies and gentlemen, that is kind of what I'm seeing. I also might consider getting puts on Tesla at the end of the day before the market closes, because even though I don't believe it to fall down too much more, I do actually think it will fall down to 180. I do think 180 will be tested between 180 to 177. I do think this general level will be tested, which is about a 6% drop from here. So, puts can definitely print on that for sure. So I'm definitely going to be considering getting puts on the market close. So I'm not really sure. I'll have to kind of end this video and kind of take the final couple minutes to assess and see. However, taking a super quick look at SPY, you can see we did break out of this wedge, but we got sucked back into it as well. And then, we have a broader wedge that's forming over here as well with the massive yellow lines as well. So, that's something else to consider that we are kind of at the top at arguably. So we'll see. But as of right now, the fact that the SPY kind of got rejected and fell back into this little smaller wedge is, interesting to say the least. That's suspicious. But I also will not be shorting SPY or even considering shorting SPY pretty much whatsoever until we at the very least break under 410. Above 410, I'm not looking for it. But all that being said, guys, that's it for the video. Let me know what you think down below. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you for the next one. Peace.